Hey YouTube. Okay. So I have a video uploading right now. Um yeah, I have a video uploading right now, so it's kind of weird for me to be uploading slash posting another video. But I feel like I will I don't want to say I feel like I need to post this video, but I want to. I really want to. Um so this video, it's deep. It's a very deep video, okay? Um, so because of how deep this video is, negative comments will not be allowed. Like, I will delete them and, like, you know. So, negative feedback is not tolerated on this video, or any video for that matter, but especially not on this video, and probably the next one that's gonna come out exactly after this. But, for this video, I downloaded Fluid Simulation, and so I'm just playing around with it. In this video, okay, I'm gonna stop stalling now, but in this video, I'm going to be talking about what God did for me, and, like, how I learned about Him, what I learned about Him, like, it's gonna be a very religious video. And so, what I want to kind of do is I want to explain my story, and then hope that, like, other people share this video of me talking about this, like, other people who might be having, like, the same feeling as me. And so it'll make sense. I'll probably, like, re-explain this at the end of this video, but it'll make sense, trust me. So I grew up so when I was, like, 5, I'm trying to figure out how to start this story, but so when I was 5, I grew up in a church. Like, I had all these church friends, well, my parents had all these church friends. I was young. I did Sabbath school in their basement, and for those of you who know what I mean, it was a black church. Like, I'm not trying to be racist or anything, but, like, here, let me say it this way. It was attended relatively by black people, and the music was... Oh, I did not know it would do that. Okay, sure. Sorry. But anyway, I grew up in, like, a certain church. And so, like, I was never really involved, I would say. Because, like, it's Sabbath school. I can't remember what we talk about, but I was never really involved. And so, me personally, now that I'm older and thinking back on it, I think I wasn't really involved because, like, I was a child and stuff. But that church, unfortunately, closed down. It wasn't able to, like, hold up. So, they closed it down. And I think we pass it, like, once or twice every year or something. And it brings back all those old memories, the nostalgia and stuff. But once that church closed down, we didn't go to church for, like, a couple months or a year. I didn't go to church for a couple months or a year. But, and so in that time, I feel like, going back on it now, I feel like I drifted away from God. I kind of, like, I wasn't going to church, and I wasn't really learning about Him or anything. So I kind of feel like I just drifted away from Him a bit. And then my grandma comes. And so I have relatives who live in Africa, right? And so my grandma, she comes every year, right? And so she came this year, and my grandma watches a church on TV back at Kenya, okay? And so she watches an SDA church. It's a SDA church, Seventh-day Adventist church. And so she watches an SDA church, which happened to be in my area. It was like a 15-minute drive, and I had no idea that this place existed. And so my grandma one day decides that she wants to take me and my brother to this church because she knows it's in the area, and I guess we didn't. But I remember just walking in, and it was so different. I mean, it was bigger from my old church. Everybody that attended seemed way older, I would say. I'm not trying to be rude. Nothing against old people, but like everyone that attended was older than everyone that like went to my old church. And there were some kids there actually. There were some kids that were my age. I'm not going to say any of their names. We're just going to assign them names, okay? So, some of the kids that attended the church that were my age, they actually helped out in the church, or they grew up in the church or something. So let's say we have Bob, okay? So we're gonna assign, no, that's, okay. Let's see, Cameron, sure. We'll give one of the boys who attended, that was my age, the name Cameron. And we'll give the other one, Dylan. So, Cameron and Dylan are brothers. And Dylan plays the piano for the church. And Cameron helps out with, like, the audio and the live stream and the cameras and stuff. And so, Cameron and Dylan, I glance at them, it's my first time seeing everyone in this place. Like, I have no idea where anything is, who anyone is. And I just see Cameron and Dylan, and I'm like, oh, wow, they're young and they're helping out with, like, audio and stuff. And I knew that because back on my old church, they let me sit up in the audio box. They, like, let me sit up there once during the service. So I knew what it was, and I knew what they were doing. I was just surprised that they were that young and helping, because at my old church, we always had the adults do it, not any kids. And so Cameron and Dylan, I see them, they're helping. I'm like, oh, wow, that's cool, but they're a little young, because I didn't know that they allowed them to. Okay, then we have another 4 set of people, okay? So we have 4 other people. We have, let's give him the name Jonathan, and I'm blanking out on names here, Nick. So Jonathan and Nick are brothers, and then we have their parents. We're gonna call one Bob, I guess, and then the other one Lisa. And so Lisa is okay, let me get this straight. Jonathan and, I already forgot what I named the other kid. Okay, Jonathan and Nick. I remember Nick. Okay. Jonathan and Nick are brothers, and their parents are Lisa and Bob, okay? And so, if I say Bobby, I'm referring to Bob. And so, Lisa is a very talkative person. She's very social. She's not afraid to try new things or meet new people. She's very funny. And so I see Lisa and Bob, and I'm like, oh, okay. And so, I wasn't really paying attention to them. And then I see Jonathan and Nick. And then Jonathan is also a very social person. He's just like Lisa, basically. I mean, Nick is Jonathan's little brother. And so Jonathan comes up to me, and he's trying to be friends with me. And, because I don't know anyone, I'm super shy. I'm just like, oh, hi, yeah, I'm Kim. And then he's like, oh, yeah, I'm Jonathan. Like, we're just becoming friends, right? And so we go into the church, and I'm sitting with my grandma, through the sermon, stuff like that. And after, I didn't know, but they have, like, a meal after church. And at my old church, they didn't do that. And so everybody was walking into this one room. I have no idea what the one room was. And so I'm just kind of sitting there, like, in the little lobby area, just kind of sitting, not talking to anyone. I think I was on my phone, yeah, because I had a phone at the time. I was just on my phone playing games. I didn't really know anyone. I didn't know where everyone was going. And Jonathan comes up to me. He sits next to me. He's like, you're not going to eat? I was like, oh, you guys eat? Like, I didn't know what to say. I didn't even know they ate after sermon. And so so think about this. It was already weird enough for me because church was on a Saturday instead of a Sunday. And so I was like, oh, you guys eat too and stuff? Like, oh, okay. And so I follow Jonathan into this huge room, and there's just these 3 tables, and they're filled with food. And so, because I don't know anyone, I sit at the way back table. So in this church, there were tables, like, everywhere for you to sit at and eat at. Well, in this church, I went and sat in the back. Like, I sat in the very back because I didn't know anyone, and Aaron, my brother, would follow me, and we'd both just sit in the back. So they prayed, we prayed, we said amen, we got in line to eat. Everyone was saying hi to me, and I'd say hi back, and I was, like, super shy because, again, I don't know anyone. And so I went and ate, and then I sat at the very back and just ate there, and then we'd end up having our parents come get me, Aaron, and my grandma. And so that's how it went for the first couple of days. I'm so sorry. This is going to be a very long video, guys. I forgot to say. But that's how it went for the days that I went. For the first couple of days that I went to church, that's how it was. Because my old church shut down. We hadn't gone for a while. And then that's kind of how it went. So fast forward. So my grandma was staying for like 3 months at that time. And so fast forward a month after just going to church like that, not talking to anyone or anything. I mean, Jonathan would talk to me every once in a while. And Jonathan would talk to me every once in a while. And Nick, his little brother, would come and talk to me every once in a while. But after a month, we kept going. Like, we went every week, and we did not miss any. So we kept going every week. And then after a month, something happens. So we walk into church. Now I know where everything's at. So remember, this is after a month, so I'm less shy. We walk into church, and I'm just hanging out with Jonathan and Nick, because Nick is very energetic. He is super energetic, super talkative. So, we're just hanging out. It's me, Jonathan, and Nick. By this time, I've talked to the kids. Those kids that ran the audio and stuff that I said. I forgot their names too after talking about, I think it was Dylan and Cameron, yeah. By now, Dylan and Cameron, I've talked to them just a little bit. So we're not like friends, but we talk, And so it's like, with Dylan and Cameron, it was to the point where I knew their name, they knew mine, and, we would just have small talk conversations. That's how it kind of was. And so I walk into church, I'm hanging out with, Jonathan and Nick. I already had my small talk conversation with Dylan and Cameron. We go into the sermon. Okay, so after this month, this is where me and Aaron started sitting with Nick and I forgot his name again. This is where me and Aaron started sitting with Nick and Jonathan. So we're sitting with Nick, Jonathan, Lisa, and Bob. So we're sitting with their family instead of my grandma. And so my grandma was okay with it. And so we're sitting with them, because there's, Nick and Jonathan are really energetic. And so we're just sitting with them. We're listening to the sermon, yes, but we're also like, kind of whispering in each other's ears. We're just hanging out. And so after church, I've gotten used to the whole eating thing. So, I went in and sat at the very back table, except now I have more people that sit there. So let me get this straight. Nick and Jonathan are friends with Dylan and Cameron, all right? Nick and Jonathan, who grew up in the church, are friends with Cameron and Dylan, who also grew up in the church and help with the audio and stuff. So it's me, Aaron, Nick, Jonathan, Cameron, and Dylan. And we're all just sitting at that table with our food, eating, talking, laughing, right? And then my grandma is at a different table. And I noticed something. Lisa, Nick and Jonathan's mom, goes up to my grandma, and I kind of listen in on their conversation. Sorry, Grandma. And I listen in, and Lisa invites... So, again, my grandma came from Africa. So she has a super strong accent. And at this time... I don't think that my grandma my grandma knows English, yes, but I don't think she knew what Lisa was talking about. And so, before I continue, let me explain what this is. So, Pathfinders. Pathfinders is kind of like Cub Scouts. Not Cub Scouts. Okay, so think of Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, all right? And mix them. So, Boys and Girl Scouts, except more religious. Okay? So, like, we'd get together every Thursday and we'd do something fun and learn about God while doing it. That's what Pathfinders is, basically. So, Boys and Girl Scouts mixed with religion. So, that's what Pathfinders is. So, Lisa goes up to my grandma, and Lisa is the co-director of Pathfinders. The director is Bob, Nick and Jonathan's dad. And so, Bob is just sitting eating, and Lisa goes up to my grandma because she knows that, like, so you have to be a certain age to join Pathfinders. You have to be 10 and up, okay? So you're 10 and up, and then once you become 18, so 10 and up, you have to be 10 and up to join, and then once you get into the ninth grade, you become a TLT, Teen Leader in Training. And then once you turn like 18 and older, you become a staff member. And so right now I am a TLT. But anyway, that's off topic. So Lisa goes up to my grandma, right? And she goes, hold on, something is happening. I have no idea. Okay. So Lisa goes up to my grandma and Lisa goes, "Hey, would Kim like to join Pathfinders?" And I heard that and I was like, oh, like I was super focused in on this because I wanted to know what my grandma would say. And my grandma said yes. Like, I didn't get a say in it. She said yes. I don't think my grandma heard what she was saying though, because Lisa kept talking about what it was and my grandma would just nod her head and agree. And so that's what led me to believe that, like, she didn't really know what she was talking about. And so she said yes. And now I was like, oh my goodness, I have no idea what my grandma just got myself into. And let me tell you this, it was the best thing ever. Like, now that I'm in it and I know everyone and everything's awesome, I think that's the best decision that my grandma's ever made for me. And so we met up that Thursday. I was not talking to anyone. I did not talk to anyone at all because everybody that was in the club, they already knew each other. And so at this point, we were a small club. And so we were a small Pathfinder club. There were bigger Pathfinder clubs out there. In fact, there are Pathfinder clubs worldwide. So, you know, if you look it up, you'll probably, oh. Sorry, guys. My phone turned off. I have no idea what happened. But if you look up, so like I was saying, there are Pathfinder clubs worldwide. And if you look up Pathfinders, you'll probably, like, not the car, Pathfinder clubs, you'll probably find something and just research it. You know, you might have one in your area that I encourage you to join. It is so fun. And so basically, we met up that Thursday and I did not talk to anyone. Like, I recognized the only person that I actually talked to in the club was Jonathan. Okay? So Nick at the time was not old enough to be in the club. Okay? So Nick was not in the club. But I did recognize some kids that were in the club. We're going to have to assign some other names here. And so we have Jonathan. I knew Jonathan in the club. And Cameron and Dylan were also in the club. But at this time, Cameron and Dylan were TLTs. Okay? So, yeah. And so I was a club member at that time. And so I knew Cameron and Dylan in the club. But then again, it was just small talk, kind of know. So, like, I didn't really talk to them. And, you know, the only person I talked to in the club was Jonathan. That's literally it. I didn't talk to anybody else. There was only, like, 4 or 5 other people. And so, you know, we'd meet up every Thursday. And I'd get comfortable. Like, over that course of time, I got comfortable with everyone. I knew everyone's name. I laughed and talked with them. You know, everything was perfect. And fast forward to right now, our club has gotten bigger. I have some best friends in the club right now. It's awesome. And so what okay, now it's time to get dive deep. Now that I've given you guys like a rundown, it's time to dive deep. Um like I said, once my grandma okay, so there's actually a little bit more before we dive deep. So now I'm comfortable with everyone in the club and stuff, and then my grandma leaves. My grandma left the US and went back to Africa. And so once my grandma left, I stopped going to church. Like, me and Erin stopped going to church, and we'd only go like once a month. Like, we'd go sometimes. Emphasize on the sometimes. And so we stopped going. I'd still go to club meetings, but, we stopped going to church. And so I feel this was actually, it wasn't it was like 2 years ago. And so it was interesting because I still went to the club meetings. I didn't go to the church. And so what happened was we stopped going, we didn't really think about going. And then my mom, out of nowhere, she tries to find a new church for us. And so we went to Hopevale. I know you guys know that. I know you guys know what Hopevale is because it's so big. I mean, Hopevale is everywhere. And for those of you who somehow don't know what Hopevale is, no hate to you guys. I'm just saying, like, Hopevale is huge. It's this very big church. I mean, it's huge. Their Sabbath schools have like 100 people in them, if not more. And they have like different rooms for different ages for Sabbath school. And every time I once went into the room where it was just the adults and the sermon and stuff. When they're doing their music, it's like a concert. It's a huge church. And so my mom is like trying to find a church that she likes or that we should go to. And then so we go to Hopevale. I know no one at Hopevale, so I don't even talk to anyone. And the way they did their Sabbath school, so this was when I went to the Sabbath school room, right? And the way they did it was so different than the one I was used to. Because when I went to, so not even the old church, the one that shut down, I mean the SDA church with Nick and Jonathan in them. I went to Sabbath school there, and the way they did it, it was literally just 3 people. Like, only 3 people did Sabbath school. It was me, Jonathan, Cameron, and Dylan. So 4 people, actually. Only us 4 didn't. So it was super small, and we'd read, like, the Bible, and we'd have fun and laugh and ask questions, So it was pretty chill. But Hopevale, the way they did it was insane, in my opinion. Like, there were, like, 20 tables, each holding, like, 10, 15 kids, and they'd assign a person to a table. And so these people that they were assigning to these tables, they were not adults. At least they didn't look like adults. They all looked like they were teenagers, like 18, 19, 20. And then they called them counselors. And so they sent me to a certain table. And, okay, so you know how I said in the sermons they would have, like, when they're singing, so you know how churches sing, and how Hopevale, I said their sermons after, when they're singing, it's like a concert. Well, that's how it was in Sabbath school. It was a mini concert. I mean, they had a stage, they had drums and a guitar. It was a mini concert. So think of a concert. That's basically what the main Hopevale sermon thing is for the adults. Now think of a smaller size of that, and that's what the Sabbath school was for me. And so, they'd sing up there, and everyone's, like, enjoying it, and I'm just here like, oh my goodness, this is so much. And then they assign us to our tables with our counselors, air quote. And so, I don't even remember what we were talking about. I remember that, I don't remember, like, the exact words, but I remember, like, we did not talk about God as much as I thought we would have. And then, in the end, before we all left, they were like, oh, I'm your counselor, you can tell me anything. And so I was just like, okay, this is not for me. Like, it was not chill. Everything was so much. I was overstimulated. It was actually it was interesting. And so my mom goes to Hopevale the next time, right? Because I guess she's trying to like it. She's like still trying it out. And this time I go with her into the adult sermon thing. This time I go with her into the adult sermon thing, and that's even bigger with the concerts and everything. And so it was too much. And so my mom just goes, "You guys just want to go to like the church your grandma took you?" And I agreed because I had friends there. And so, now I'm comfortable in the club. We're going to this church. And then we stopped going again. We stopped going to church. Now, this is very recent. Even now, I'm getting into this. And so we stopped going again, but I'm still in the club. I'm still doing everything. And so my grandma comes again. We start going again. Then my grandma leaves. We stop going. And then that's the final time. So after going through that, this is not recent. This is 2024 now. This is right now. Right now, this is where we get deep, guys. Okay, so right now, I am not going to church, okay? And so, I'm still in the club. I'm a TLT, but I don't go to the church. But so last summer, they started a baptism class. But because of the way things were, we never actually finished the baptism class. And so, right now, what's happening is, I am not going to church, but, like, I want to. And so here's where we get deep. I feel like every day that I don't go to church, like every Saturday that I don't go, I drift farther from God. And they say how they want you to be as close to him as possible. And I'm like, I agree with the sermons and stuff. Like summer camp. The summer camp that I went to was actually a Bible camp. It was a summer Bible camp, and it lasted a week. And it's in Grayling. I recommend you go. It is so fun. It is actually super fun. And like, you have worship. And the sermons were really, really good. Like, I was actually listening to the sermons and, like, everything. I was like, wow, that's awesome. This is amazing. And so, hearing those sermons for a week, I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like, after not going to church for, like, a couple months, and I'm now being exposed to, like, all these sermons. So it lasts a week and you have worship twice a day. Okay. And so now we're going from not going to church for like a couple months to now going to worship like twice a day for a week. I was like, oh my goodness, this is awesome. The sermons are amazing. And I really did think about them. I got into deep thought about them, and I was like, wow, I should really apply this in my life. And so, you know how you, like, pray before every meal? We do that. And you, like, pray before you go to bed. Pray when you wake up, devotions and all that. I started really diving deep into those. I was like, I should start doing these. Like, the sermons were awesome. And the sermons is what expired, wow. The sermons are what inspired me to, like, I need to get back into church. I need to start, like, applying this to my life. I need to start doing morning devotions and praying and all this. And I'm just like, wow, this is awesome. And so every Saturday that I don't go to church, it's not that because I do want to go. In fact, last year I used to be on the audio team for my church. I used to help with the audio, just like Cameron and Dylan. And then we stopped going, so I don't anymore. But now, after experiencing God twice a day for a week, the sermons actually being really, really good. So it was a camp for teenagers. So instead of having, like, I know sometimes the way they explain it in church for the adults is, like, kind of hard to wrap your head around. At least that's the way it was for me. But now that, like, he explained the sermon in a way where I could wrap my head around it, I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like, I literally felt the presence of God just like sitting right next to me, and I was like learning about him. I don't know how to explain it, but like I was like, wow, this is amazing. It felt like he had restored something in me, or I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, guys, but like you'll feel it once in your life, I swear. But after hearing the sermons and all of that, I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then the devotions. So my summer camp counselor, she did these morning devotions. Now at this point, I've never met anyone that actually did devotions, but I've heard of them. In fact, I don't really know much about what they are. I just know that they exist and that people do them. But at this point, I had never met anyone who actually did them. And so my summer camp counselor, she actually did them. She was telling me and my cabin mates, like, yeah, I woke up and did my devotions. And then I was like, oh, wow, okay, you do devotions. That's awesome. Because, like, you know, I didn't really know what they were. And so I was like, okay. And then now, after being exposed to all that worship for the week, you know, like, it's not that I can't go to church. It's that, I mean, I want to go to church. I just don't have a way to get there. Like, I'm either busy that day or I can't go because, so my mom, I'm not going to tell much about this, but my mom, she works night shifts for her job. So when she comes back, she's super tired in the morning. She's usually asleep. And so it's not that I can't go because my mom's tired. I don't want to disturb her. She had a long night, like, honestly. And she can't drive me. And so I could bike there if I really wanted to. Because, you know, I've biked out there before. But, like, it's, biking to church, let's just think about that. I'm not going to list all the negative things or the things that could happen. But let's just be for real. Biking to church, come on. And so I want to go. I feel like me as a person, I want to get back into that relationship with God, you know? And like, honestly, I want to go back to helping with like the audio team. I want to go back to going every Saturday, helping with the audio team. You know, I'm in the club, so I'm pretty sure I should be going anyway. And those baptism classes. So here are my thoughts on baptismal classes. So when I was doing them, I was like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll do these. But that was when, like, so originally I had already done the baptismal classes when I was way younger, but I never actually got baptized. And so I retook the classes, I retook the class, or half of it, last summer, because it never actually finished. And now they're thinking of starting it back up again, but individuals. So what they mean by individuals, like me and Jonathan, if you guys remember who Jonathan is, me and Jonathan would call each other up and we'd fill out our baptismal class book together. And then once we like finish them, we get the certificate and we get baptized. But me personally, I'm scared. I would say I'm not scared, but I'm worried about if I get baptized. And so like, here's the part where I'm like telling people you should share this video for anyone who's like feeling the same way. Cause like, I know I feel this way, but I really want to know like the opinions of others and like what you would do in this situation if anyone else is feeling like this and what they have done or anything. And so this is where I will not tolerate any like negativity because this is my story. And I'm telling you how I feel, and I really don't need negative feedback on that, because that's just messed up. And so, basically, I am worried to get baptized. Like, I'm gonna be so serious with you guys. I am actually very worried. Like, you know how, so, when my pastor is doing the sermons, the way I understand them, there was this one on baptism. And the way I understand it is once you get baptized, it's kind of like these rules you have to follow. And so I personally, I'm worried about those rules. Like what happens if you break those rules? Like I'm someone who believes in heaven and hell. And so I'm just like, if you break those rules, do you go to hell? Cuz like I want to go to heaven. I do not want to go to hell. Who wants to go to hell? No one. And so I'm scared. Like, if you break those rules, what happens? Do you go to hell? Like, and so I was worried. I was like, I don't, it's not even the fact that I was worried about breaking the rules. It's the fact that, like, can I follow the rules? Like, some of the rules, like, I don't know how to explain it, but, like, it's the matter of, will I follow the rules? I don't even know if there are rules after you get baptized. That's just the way my pastor explained it. But, like, what happens if I break them, and, like, you know, will I follow them? Because that's what I'm scared about. I have great self-control. Trust me, I do. But, like, I'm scared if, I accidentally slip up this one day and I break one of the rules and then something, like, goes wrong somewhere or something. And so that's what I'm scared about. I'm not scared about breaking the rules. Well, I'm not scared about breaking the rules. No, let me word this. Okay, that sounds weird. I'm scared about what happens if I break the rules, yes, but I'm more scared about if I will be able to follow them, if that makes sense. And so that's why, and so we go camping, okay? So in Pathfinders, sometimes you go for a Pathfinder camp out. And so we go camping, and it's the last camp out, it's the end of the Pathfinder year. And one of the things that you do is they ask you who wants to take classes to get baptized. It's so much deeper than that. That's just that's me saying it blandly. It's so much deeper than that. But basically they ask you, stand up if you want to take baptism classes and get baptized. And so I was so hesitant on standing up because I was so I do want to get baptized. Like, trust me, I really, really do. I want to take that extra step and get closer with God and learn about Him more and more each day. But, like, again, that fear was holding me back and telling me, like, oh, you might break the rules. If you break the rules, you're going to go to hell, stuff like that. And so I was so hesitant on standing up, but I forced myself to, so looking back on it now, I personally believe that was, what the heck? Oh, I left my computer on, guys. Let me just turn that off, guys. It's okay. I thought I muted it. Hold on. Let me mute my computer right now, guys, so that you don't have to hear that. Anyway, looking back on that moment, I really believe that was Satan. Like, that was Satan trying to hold me back from getting closer with God. And so I did end up standing up. But, like, I'm still kind of worried. I don't want the fear to, like, take over or anything, because I'm still going to do the classes. I know that for a fact. But, like, looking back on that moment, I kind of feel like that was Satan trying to hold me back from taking that extra step and getting closer with God. Honestly. But, yeah. I think that's all I'm going to say for this video. Again, I'm not going to tolerate any negative feedback, especially on a video like this, because let's be so for real, guys. It's 2024 and humanity is messed up right now. And so any negative feedback on this video, I swear, your comment is deleted and I'll, like, find a way to report you. I don't know. But any negative feedback will not be tolerated. And share this story. Like, honestly, I'm being so for real. I'm not one of those clout chasers, okay? But, like, I'm being so for real. Share this story. I really want to know what other people think. Like, if they felt the same way and, like, overcame it and what they did. Or, like, if I'm thinking about something wrong. Or, like, I just want to know everyone else's feedback. And maybe, like, find people who feel the same way. So, for anyone who's, like, watching this video, please share it with, like, everyone out there. Like, if you know friends that are feeling this way, share it with them. I'd love to know their feedback or their opinion on, what they did or what they think I should do. Or maybe we could just talk, hey, yeah, I feel the same way, what do you think we should both do or something? Like, I'm kind of looking for feedback. So, like, share this story with others. And you know what? I encourage other people to make a video similar to this. I encourage other people to share a story just like this one, talking about their relationship with him, how they feel about it. And so please, like, share this story, make your own story. I'm trying to, you know, I'm trying to get feedback, basically. I'm trying to, like, I want to know people's thoughts on this. So, thank you for listening. If you made it this far into the video, like, if you watched the full, probably, I haven't edited it yet, so I'm going to say it's an hour long. That's what I'm going to say. So if you've made it this far into the video, please comment across. Let's go with the theme of the video. Comment across if you've made it to the end of the video. And I will heart your comment because I thank you for listening to this. I'm not going to call it a rant because it's not a rant. It's very important to me. But I will appreciate you for staying the full length of the video and, like, listening to this problem that I believe many people have. I think I have a friend and he said he kind of feels the same way. And so, me and him talked about it for a little. And, I have a feeling that many people deal with the same issue. And so, please, comment across if you've made it this far. Share this with anyone you know. I'd love to hear their feedback. And maybe even record your own story, So, yeah. That's this video, guys. I don't really know how to end this. But thank you for listening. Comment across if you made it to the end. God is good. God is good. He is really good. I mean, if I pushed Satan out of the way to stand up at that camp meet thing, if I pushed Satan out the way to stand up at the meet, even though I still had that fear in the back of my mind, I believe that was God who was allowing me to stand up, who, like, helped me stand up. So God is good. Yeah, I think that's how I'm going to end this video. So I hope you guys are having an amazing summer. I know I am. Thank you for listening, and I'll probably see you guys, I hope, soon, I guess.